What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my gaming show. My name is AJ Gels. How y'all doing? It is time once more for the weekly show. I guess this is technically the second time this week for the weekly show. Either way, on Saturday we took a look at the big gameplay reveal event that was going on for Borderlands 3. We took a, just kind of, I just kind of sat there and just kind of bullshitted while we just kind of enjoyed, or hopefully had some fun and watched that presentation go on. But I did promise that in the next day or two, I would come here and cover the rest of the news from this week, or at least just some other articles that I saw this week. Really not a whole hell of a lot. I do have one topic that I hope will be really fun. The only reason I'm not opening with it is because, I don't know, I feel like some people might be put off by looking at anime boobs while I sit here and do my usual opening spiel of the show. So either way, if you haven't already been turned off this program, basically what we do, we sit here, we read video game articles from around the webs. Mostly, I just retweet them, save them on my IGN app or anything like that. If you follow me on Twitter, you can usually get a good sense of where I'm, of what I'm going to be talking about. Or obviously, you guys can always send me links in the comment section, or send me tweets, and I will always be happy to look at articles and think about bringing them on to the show. And then basically just sit here and we talk video game news. That's pretty much what we do here. So yeah, I don't really feel like I have much to go, much more to go. I'm sorry, I see Sonic horror movie, and I keep thinking back to that Sonic trailer. Man, that thing looked weird. Oh, God. Alright, first article we got up here. This is on PC Gamer. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline 2s. That is a mouthful. First full blood clan is the Bruja. Article Fraser Brown, as I said, of PC Gamer. No, last week I think it was last week. I talked about I talked about Bloodlines 2. And I was a little confused of how they were explaining the story. Because because us, the players, we get to play as a thin blood. And I was really confused of what a thin blood really was. My question, from the way they were explaining it, I'm like, is thin blood like its own kind of clan? Is it like, are you a thin blood but part of another one of the other blood clans? It was really kind of confusing me, but I think I figured it out now that they're talking. How to put this? I think I figured it out by the end of that article, but I was still kind of confused because they were talking about the thin bloods, and then how later on you could choose to join one of the other full blood clans in this game. So I'm trying to think how best to explain this. So basically what it is, a thin blood is basically its own categorization of vampire. I thought it was just a term that they use to describe a weak vampire. No, it's its own classification. So there we go. I'm back on track here. And in all honesty, I'm not sure if I said this before, but honestly, I'm excited for Vampire the Masquerade 2. I have the first game. I'm not sure if I'd play it on the channel. If there's an interest in it, I'd play it. It's just the game looks super rough and it's kind of challenging to play, just because it's that old school Unity engine thing. It's one of those that it's got a cool story, really cool like gameplay and stuff. It's just, really cool story, really cool quests, all that. It's just, man, the game is really rough to look at. But either way, if there's interest, I'll do it. I'm sorry. Let's actually get into the article. In Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, you'll begin your unlife as a thin blood with few mates, but eventually you'll be able to join one of the 5 vampire clans. Or one of 5 vampire clans, including the rebellious Bruja. They're the angry, righteous punks of the world of darkness, and you can learn more about what their deal is in the reveal trailer above. The Bruja are known as the rabble to the rest of the vampires, and they're not ones for institutions or authority. I mean, really calling them the punks, as much as I know about the world of darkness kind of lore. Yeah, the Brujas, they're kind of the anarchists, they're kind of activists. That's kind of the idea for them. But also their main, like, bloodline trait, their main thing for the Bruja is they're strong. That's kind of their thing. Really good, like, fist fighters. Institutions or authority. They used to be a clan of warrior scholars. You play as one in Redemption, but in the modern age, they're viewed by the other clans as punks and troublemakers. There aren't many Bruja in Seattle, and most of them are what remains from failed anarch movements. Anarchs reject the vampire establishment, and not surprisingly, it's a movement the Brujah find appealing. That means they aren't affiliated with Seattle's blood-sucking political faction, so they might be a good choice of clan if you want a bit of a wild card. They love a good brawl, too, and even host undead fight clubs. Their vampire powers also reflect their penchant for pugilism. Potency. I don't need that there. You're big, you're tough, and your muscles have muscles. Fist of Cain gives you a punch even the big daddy of the vamps would be proud of. Knock down walls and throw people far. It's upgradable, too. Beat up the ground with Earth Shock, creating a shockwave and knocking down anyone that gets too close. Upgrading it will send out fissures that damage enemies nearby. So basically the Brujah, they're your physical fighters. If I had to guess of the clans that I remember that would probably be in this game, I would guess, we know the Brujah. And it makes perfect sense because they're, like I said, you're more of your fighters. I think it's like the Tremere. I can't remember the exact name of it, but there's one they're basically like blood mages. I think they're going to be in it. I kind of hope the Malkavians are in this game. The Malkavians thing are they like hear voices and get premonitions. But they're basically insane. They're really fun classes. Part of me feels like they might put the Nosferatu back in there, but I highly doubt we're going to see the Nosferatu again. And just because how to put this, in the first Bloodlines game, playing as a Nosferatu was considered like a it was the unlabeled hard mode was playing as a Nosferatu. So they might or might not put it. I can't remember. It's not a Varrock with a bad guy. Oh my god, I'm trying to remember what the high class vampire was. I can't remember exactly what they're called. But I think the high class vampires, they're kind of just all rounders. I mean, they're kind of strong. They're kind of good at the blood magic and stealth and everything. I don't know which of the 5 clans. I mean, I don't think we're going to see the Gangrels. If I remember correctly, the Gangrels were kind of like one in tune with nature. They're more animalistic, sort of vampires. I highly doubt we'll see them again. It's just I don't know. I think there's one called the Troubadour, I think it was a Troubadour. They were more of like a charmer based class. I'd be surprised to see them too. But so I'm getting lost in my own mind here. Celerity, you're the speedster of the vampire world. Unseen Storm lets you dash in any direction so quickly that to anyone looking you disappear, giving you the chance to make quick attacks, reposition yourself, and dodge attacks. It helps if you want to run away too, and it can be upgraded. With Accelerate, the world slows down around you, letting you pull off fancy stunts and even avoid bullets. You can enhance it with an upgrade too. You'll be wanting to grab some shades and a leather coat, obviously. Reference to Neo. While the Brujah have a rebellious streak, they still follow the Masquerade, and use one of your disciplines out in the open is considered a violation. You wouldn't want to get in trouble with Seattle Sheriff. You'll keep your thin blood powers if you join the Brujah too, so you'll still be able to transform into a cloud of mist or summon a swarm of bats, and of course you've got all your conventional attacks and weapons too. It looks like the Brujah quite like their baseball bats and their leathers. It's a strong look. The Bloodlines 2 team will be hosting a Brujah breakdown on the Paradox Interactive Twitch channel, 9 a.m. PT today, so give it a watch, find out more, yada yada. I'm not sure if we're going to do one of these for every time that, cover an article like this every time that they'll reveal another Blood Clan until the release of the game. I mean, we might not. It all kind of comes down to how much we have to cover that day. But in all honesty, it's like I said, I'm pretty excited for Bloodlines 2. I think Bloodlines 1 really was a really cool game, a really big cult classic, had a great story and everything, but again, it's just, it's graphically, that game is really rough to look at. And I think a lot of people have trouble getting through that. Hell, I've had a little bit of trouble. I've started it once or twice and couldn't really get into it. Mix that with it's played with a lot of bugs and everything like that. But I mean, again, it was a very ambitious project. I mean, in all honesty, I think something I really do hope that they stick with from the first game was how well they took tabletop gaming and brought it to console, or they brought it to, I guess, PC, but you know what I'm getting at. They brought it to video games and really found a way to make a tabletop RPG work in a video game context, because video game RPGs and tabletop, I mean, they're vastly different. But somehow they found a way to make it work with Bloodlines, and I really hope that they continue that with Bloodlines too. They don't just make it go, full RPG or whatever. Because I thought that was one of the first Bloodlines. I think that was one of the things that the first Bloodlines game did very, very well. Excuse me. Moving on, like I said, I was talking about anime boobs. This is just really fun, especially because I thought this article was well written. It was really funny. Article on PC Gamer by Wes Fenlon. Mass Effect inspired porn game is now one of the biggest gaming Kickstarters of all time. I think I've tweeted about this twice, and I think both times I just put it with the caption of "I love the internet." This is freaking hilarious. And I checked this game out on Steam too. I've seen the screenshots, and if they deliver on everything they're talking about here, this could actually not only be a really, I don't want to say for a porn game, this could be really good. I actually think this could be a decent game. That's what I find really funny. Oh man, and yes, and of course, I only checked this out on Steam for professional purposes, look, obviously research for the show. It wasn't that I was actually I'm not an internet pervert. Pause for hoping you believe me. Subverse, a video game created by a developer you've probably never heard of. I've heard of them. Past son of a bitch, $1.9 million raised on Kickstarter on Tuesday with 24 hours left to go. Unlike the names behind some Kickstarter's biggest gaming successes, Double Fine, Obsidian, Yu Suzuki, Subverse creator FOW Interactive is only famous in the circle of people who watch CG porn of game characters on Newgrounds. Okay. I don't know where to go from here. But compare Subverse's haul to the 1.43 million that veteran Miss creators Cyan Worlds were just able to raise for their new game, and it's clear there's a very hungry audience for Mass Effect meets Mass Erect. The guys at PC Gamer, they've really got to love their jobs for how they get to for some of the things they get to write. Sorry, just the fact that this made over $1.9 million on Kickstarter is amazing. And again, people want to say, I've chatted with a few people at IRL about this, and it's just gross. I'm like, screw you. Even if you don't want to play it, it's still funny. And two, if you want to play it, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm really open when it comes to this shit. I mean, you want me to be 100% honest with you guys? I like to think that I'm a very open guy with myself, and I'm very honest with you guys watching. I don't hide my opinions. I'd buy this. I mean, hell, I think it's going into early access. Trying to think. I think it goes into early access this summer. So I'd say in about a month or two, we could actually probably play this. Obviously, I'm not going to do a Let's Play for this game, but again, honestly, depending on the price, I would get it. I'm not gonna lie. The Kickstarter page describes Subverse as, quote, a tactical RPG shoot-'em-up hybrid that takes place in a fully explorable galaxy where you get to be the captain of your very own ship, which is crewed by the sexiest and deadliest waifus you can recruit, end quote. Oh god, just go on PC Gamer and look up some of the articles on this game. Even when the developers were talking about this game, absolutely some of the funniest fucking quotes you will ever read in a gaming article. It promises a story, grid-based combat reminiscent of a simplified Shadowrun, and women designed by, quote, world-renowned art director and Squid Girl titty enthusiast. Missed that one. Oh, that's great. Zung Fung Din, I hope that's correct, end quote. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Oh, man, it's like I said in the title, man, one not safe for work topic. FOW Interactive clearly has ambitions to make a full game here, but the focus is most definitely going to be on having sex with your crewmates, where Mass Effect's relationships were mostly about the talking, capped off with a brief PG-13 sex scene. Well, I don't think that's technically true, because you got to see nude boobs in Mass Effect. Can you be PG-13 and show boobs? I don't think you can. I think that immediately bumps you up to an R rating. Subverse is taking the porn parody approach. All the talking and the sci-fi trappings are there to set the tone for the hardcore sex scenes that follow. It's basically the Pirates of porn games. It just makes me smile. Out of the 12,868 video game Kickstarters since 2012's Double Fine Adventure, only 18 have pulled in more money than Subverse. In its last day, it has a good chance of surpassing Divinity Original Sin 2. Holy shit, really? And Star Citizen. The fact that it's going to beat Divinity is amazing to me. I mean, that's wacky. I mean, because I knew Divinity Original Sin 2 had a really big backing. I mean, honestly, I fucking love that game. It's great. Again, we can take all the funny stuff around this. It's a porn game. It's all, we can take all this. Let's set this aside. The fact that this made $1.9 million on Kickstarter, I think is amazing. And again, it just kind of goes to show that companies who are trying to pull sex out of games, there's a market for it. I mean, granted, this is appealing to a widely different market than people who just enjoy sexy women in video games. Again, this is a little more extreme than that, but I still think that the comparison is valid. Again, I always talk about it. It's just like when, I believe it was Koei Tecmo, said that they weren't going to bring DOA Extreme 3 to the West. I thought that was there's obviously a group of people who are interested in playing it. Mostly because people kept talking about it for a few months. I mean, granted, I think there's an argument to be made that they did it as more of as a marketing ploy to try and get people to import the game. But still, I think that there is something more here, or there's something beyond all this funny, ha ha ha, it's a porn game kind of thing that we can sit here and laugh about. I think there is something more serious about the gaming industry. Again, it's just like Sony pulling a lot of stuff out of games that they're bringing over to the West, and a lot of people are just saying, well, great, now I'm not going to buy it because I didn't want to buy a game with limited features. I wanted to buy this Japanese game that you guys ported for the West. That you guys gave an English, you either gave an English track to you translated and all this. I wanted to play that game, not a game that you have just stripped features out of. There's a market for these things, and companies continue to just not appeal to these markets, and it's odd to me. And then something like this comes along and you see it makes $1.9 million. And I think it's freaking hilarious. And like I said, I mean, maybe it's not a one-to-one comparison. Because again, this is something very different from the other things that I'm talking about. But still, I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Do you think I'm making a bad comparison there? Or do you think that I have some semblance of a point? Or if I'm just rambling. I mean, It's early, I didn't get a lot of sleep, that's also possible. Where the hell was I? Subverse likely isn't going to raise another $200 million post-Kickstarter, like Star Citizen has, but it's also a narrower pitch. Star Citizen promised the most immersive space game ever from the creator of Wing Commander. Subverse says you can have sex with a bunch of women and also play some shoot-'em-up and RPG combat segments, but mostly it's about the sex. You know what, man? Whatever makes you money. The thing that makes Subverse's success even more impressive when you look at the history of gaming Kickstarters is that most of the biggest earners date back to the time before crowdfunding fatigue had settled in. All-time champ Shenmue 3 was $6.6 million. Started in 2015, so did runner-up Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Both will supposedly be out this year. Many of the other big earners are even older. 2012 for Wasteland 2, and Elite Dangerous 2013 for Mighty No. 9, and every game that followed the initial wave. By 2016, almost no video game was pulling in $2 million plus on Kickstarter anymore. Also, I want to say out of the ones that we saw, Elite Dangerous, never heard of. Mighty No. 9, I believe people who liked Mega Man enjoyed it, but for the most part, I don't think people got what they were hoping out of it. Wasteland 2, I think, was the only one of those that were really mentioned that was really good. I love Wasteland 2, personally. Have it on my Switch. And as far as Shenmue 3 and Bloodstained, I've seen gameplay for Bloodstained. Not too terribly interested in it. It just strikes me as a just typical side-scroller beat-em-up. And Shenmue, I've never played the first two Shenmue games. I mean, they look funny. But all in all, especially there's that entire thing at the end of the first Shenmue game where you literally are just hiking in the mountains for like 2 to 3 hours. That's just, I don't get that, man. All right, Subverse has proven to be a powerful exception. It's wild that the internet has made porn an infinite and free commodity, and yet in 2019, more than 50,000 people have paid about $2 million to support a sci-fi sex game. Well, yeah, because nobody's making high quality. I mean, they make shitty little Flash games. They make low budget products that come out on Steam using RPG Maker and a bunch of stolen assets from anime. I mean, nobody's tried to do something like. I'm not going to say nobody's tried to do something like this, but there's another project that's similar to this. I can't remember who's working on it or what the hell the name of it is, but there's another game that's it's been getting a lot of donations. That's basically just that's another pseudo RPG survival game that just it's a porn game. There are a few companies that are really, again, they're pornographic, producers. I don't actually know the proper term for them, but there's a market here, and there's a group of companies that are really trying to play to that market, and they're really trying to make these games. I'm not going to say these things are going to be mainstream, shown at this big screen at E3 when you're sitting there going, "Whoa, those are people parts." I'm not saying that, but honestly, if these kind of things do well, like if this game does well, this other project that I'm talking about do well, any of the other ones that might still just be ideas, but who knows? Maybe we'll see this become more of a, maybe not a respectable genre, because I mean it is porn, but I don't know. Maybe it just wouldn't be uncommon to hear about these larger games that people are trying to make. I'm trying to think exactly how I want to phrase this. I'm kind of stumbling because I want to try and put this into like a nice kind of like a wrapped up sentence. I really think people are trying to mix real gaming, like real video games, with pornography. I think if they can actually make that fusion, I think there's a market there. I think plenty of people will buy it and plenty of people will make it worth your while, especially if you can make it a good game without the pornography. I've said pornography more in this segment than I think I have ever said on this channel to date. Huh. All right. Where the hell was I? I'm sorry. Let's keep going here. It's wild the internet has made porn info, blah, blah, blah. Its only close contemporaries are Firmament, that new Cyan game, and another Cyan project from 2018, Missed Anniversary Collection. And compared to most crowdfunding campaigns, those projects are sure bets. Before Firmament, Cyan, Kickstarter, another Missed Spiritual Successor, Abduction, which turned out well, and even if Missed Anniversaries Collection, excuse me, promised, I can't pronounce that, ended up disappointing, while the game themselves already exist. There's only so badly that one can screw up. For video game crowdfunding, years of late MIA and disappointing games have dampened the enthusiasm that Kickstarter once ignited. Some of all-time biggest Kickstarters, meanwhile, have happened fairly recently. Critical Role pulled in $11.3 million this year for an animated series. Board games continued to do well, and one earned more than $5 million at the end of 2018. In fact, between 2015 and 2018, board games funding on Kickstarter has grown from $84.6 million and $165 million annually, while video game funding has fallen off a cliff from $41.5 million in 2015 to only $15.8 million in 2018. See, I think it comes down to the quality of the work, because I think there are some talented developers, and I think for every giant game, like a Divinity Original Sin 2, a Wasteland 2, that has come out of Kickstarter, I think there's also been plenty that haven't really done well. I mean, I contributed to a Kickstarter sometime, probably around this time last year. It was for, what the hell was it for? It was for a, it was for a tabletop wargaming thing. It was called God Tier, made by the company that does Guild Ball. Again, I think the larger, more well-known companies in that space have actually taken to crowdfunding to try and fund their projects. Really, they find a way to really get them out to a more niche market. While I think video games have really kind of moved, since video games have moved so much into the mainstream. I mean, I believe video games make more annually than, I think it rivals the film and music industry, if not defeats them in terms of total revenue. So I think that's a big reason why Kickstarter isn't the big thing for video games, is because we have big companies like Sony who are killing it. Big company, well, I'll just kind of leave it there because I think Sony's about the only one who's absolutely killing it right now, but beside the point. Jesus is long. The comments on Subverse are mostly unabashedly horny, but then you get the occasional question that would fit right in on any gaming Kickstarter where fans are hopeful the game will include some particular feature. Divinity Original Sin 2 used a similar system where enemies had physical and or magical armor on top of their hit points. My question to you is, how exactly does your armor system work in order to avoid problems similar to those in DOS 2? Do you have characters like Futa? If you don't know what that means, maybe don't look it up. Yeah, if you don't know what that means, really think hard if you want to know what it means. An idea for ending mechanisms. Bear with my. Usually there are two flawed ways to end a game. TBH, I don't give a damn about the gameplay. I just want to see tits. I think that's fair. And of course, sometimes those two passions combine. From purely academic perspective, will any of the mantics be egg-laying handholders? End quotes. Oh God. Apparently hand-holding is the project's code word for sex, and you'll see it brought up again and again in the campaign's 13,000 comments. It's a lot of comments for comparison. The last mega successful gaming Kickstarter, the MMO Ashes of Creation, has occurred fewer than 5,000 comments since its campaign in mid-2017. Maybe those fans are simply talking elsewhere, but it's clear there's enthusiasm for Subverse that no gaming Kickstarter has matched it in years. Maybe because, much like the Double Fine adventure, it's the first of its kind, not the first gaming Kickstarter, but the first porn game to promise a big-budget combination of actual game design and CG sex scenes. It's also launching on Steam, which is possible thanks to Valve's decision to let almost anything on the platform. That's a good and or bad thing, and will surely be the highest production value porn game on the platform. The developers appear to be careful about not going too far, though. Quote, all content in the game will adhere to Steam's community guidelines, so no dark content like rape, end quote. A developer answered in the comments after a fan asked if you'd have the quote, options to take a more assertive approach, end quote. Subverse's Kickstarter asked backers to support the revolution, which seems a bit grandiose for a game about having sex with comically designed fantasy women. Don't judge. It's no more revolutionary than a porn movie having a story, but it does at least have a sense of humor. See, I think that's the biggest thing. I think that's what I like the most about this, is that the people making it are like, oh, we're trying to make art. They're like, no, look, we're making porn. Let's be honest. Let's not take ourselves too seriously. And if you've read their interviews, like, we're taking the design and we want to make a good game, but at the end of the day, we are making something that is kind of a joke. I think that's hilarious. What is now one of the most successful Kickstarter game campaigns of all time leads with the pitch, quote, turning our curious eye towards the glittering stars speckled around our little blue planet, we have often asked ourselves the eternal questions. Are we alone in the universe? What is out there? More importantly, can we bone it? End quote. The audience answer appears to be a loud, emphatic yes. But like I said, I hope you at least, if you didn't give two craps about this actual game, I hope you actually just enjoyed the article and how just enjoyed laughing with me. Here's probably my favorite part. And again, this is what I mean by the creators of this game are really freaking funny. I mean, they're not taking themselves too seriously. I love this. Quote, we just wanted to make dick lasers and big bouncy anime titties, says creator of the latest Kickstarter hit. I love that. I respect the shit out of what they're doing here. Yeah, like I said, Subverse, go check it out. It's on Steam. It's on Steam. All right, now into some more. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I don't know why that's just a blank page. Oh my god. On to some serious news now. I'll promise. I'll stop taking the piss out of everything. We'll be seeing more of The Last of Us 2 before E3 2019, says Industry Insider article Alex Alvard of Games Radar. I can't remember if I've said when I think Last of Us Part 2 is going to be coming out. I'm still thinking next year. I'm going fall next year. That's my guess. With Days Gone finally out of the way, the rest of Sony's 2019 schedule for PlayStation 4 is looking unusually bare bones right now. Neither Death Stranding nor Ghost of Tsushima have confirmed release dates, but the most anticipated first-party title of them all, The Last of Us 2, seems the most likely to be the one that arrives later this year. Really? I've been thinking The Last of Us Part 2 is going to be next year. I mean, I think the game... I'm not sure. I think I read somewhere that the final scene has been finished and recorded and done and all that. I don't know. I still feel like this game... It just feels like it feels weird to see two Sony zombie games in 1 year. I mean, granted, Days Gone and The Last of Us 2 are going to be different kinds of games. I mean, The Last of Us 2 is more of that Naughty Dog, pseudo, kind of linear with some exploration, while Days Gone is an open world zombie sort of game. Honestly, I think the big Sony game coming out at the end of this year is going to be Ghost of Tsushima. I think I think it's supposed to come out this year, and two, I don't know. I just don't feel. I don't think The Last of Us Part 2 is going to be this year. I really don't. There's just something. I don't. Yet I don't know. I'm battling within myself now. I mean, it makes perfect sense that it would be The Last of Us 2 and not Tsushima, because we've not seen shit about Tsushima. But at the same time, I think Sony's kind of let that one sit on the back burner and just let people just kind of forget about it. But I don't know, man. I still think it's going to be Tsushima. And also, in all honesty, come on. Sony's allowed to have a bare bones year after the last couple that they've had, where last year they launched, I think, like 3 or 4 exclusives that were some of the best games of the year. Let them take a year off. We've had some store listings and tacit confirmation from PlayStation Store itself that Naughty Dog's dystopian sequel is launching in 2019, and now a new hint, excuse me, from a game industry insider suggests we'll be hearing more about the title very, very soon. In a Reset Era thread discussing The Last of Us 2's potential release date, a user by the name of Aokiji, who accurately leaked the existence of Sony's State of Play internet show before it was announced earlier this year, said that, quote, considering we're getting an official TLO U2 update before E3, it would be really weird if it wasn't 2019 now, wouldn't it, end quote. The E3 2019 schedule kicks off as early as June 7th with the EA Play event, which means, according to this tease, we could be seeing new gameplay for The Last of Us 2 in less than a month. Interestingly, Hideo Kojima teased a new trailer for his next game, Death Stranding, just yesterday, suggesting we could see another State of Play show at some point in May or early June. Well, yeah, obviously we're going to see another State of Play from Sony right before E3. I mean, that's again, they're just ripping off Nintendo. Let's be entirely honest. They're ripping off the Nintendo. Oh my god. Nintendo Directs. There we go. God, why was that? I'm sitting here going Nintendo Play, and I'm like, that's not what they're called. Either way, this would certainly be the best way for Sony to keep its player base happy despite its absence from E3, and the tech giant may even reveal more about its announced PS5 console, despite recently stating that the next-gen hardware won't be out till May 2020 at the earliest. I still highly doubt that's even accurate. I still think another 2-3 years till we get our next gen. Whether this hypothetical State of Play gives us a release date for The Last of Us 2 or Death Stranding is anyone's guess, but their status as two of the most anticipated new games of 2019 are beyond makes this rumor all the more exciting. The ball's in your court, Naughty Dog. No, in all honesty, my guess is that I think The Last of Us 2 and Death Stranding, I'm going to change. I think in the past I said that I think that they're going to come out 1 year after the other. I think seeing that we're getting close to the end of this generation, I think it's more and more likely that we're going to see those two games come out in the same year. But I guess that would be next year. I don't think we see The Last of Us 2 this year. And I'll also say this. I will say there's no way in hell that we see Death Stranding this year. No way in hell that game comes out this year. I'd put money on that if I had money. But again, that's again these are all my guesses based on just my vibes. But yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing Death Stranding. Hell, I think I'd be a little surprised if we saw Death Stranding next year. In all honesty, but all right, moving on. We got an exclusive Suda51 teases new announcement later this month at MomoCon 2019. Article Chris Carter on Destructoid. I don't think I'll ever stop being interested in what Suda51 is up to. He's just one of those developers where you know that even if something isn't 100% to your liking, you still come out of the experience better than you did before it. In a world of cookie-cutter design templates and direction by committee, he's a shining light of, quote, I do what I want, end quote. He did just that with Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes on Switch earlier this year, and now he has something more to say later this month. I think I made my thoughts on Travis Strikes Again clear at the end of my Let's Play for it. I thought it was good, not what I was hoping for / wanted, but you know what? It didn't feel like it didn't have the charm of a Suda game. It just kind of was meh. But I mean, from what I've seen of Killer is Dead, and just Suda is very much what did a buddy of mine compared him to, like Dr. Evil from the Austin Powers movies. You know, it's like here's an idea, just put freaking laser beams on sharks and all that shit. Yeah, I really love Suda, and I really loved No More Heroes just because of the I love Suda games because of the characters, the over the topness, the dumbness, and everything. And I think what killed Travis Strikes Again, to me, again, I keep saying this, was the lack of voice acting. That was the weirdest part of that game. Either way, MomoCon has confirmed that to Destructoid that Suda51 will be attending this year's convention for the second time in a row and will, quote, make another announcement, end quote, at MomoCon 2019. If you recall, last year, he revealed Killer 7 on Steam, so it could be something akin to a port of a beloved classic or something new entirely. Con officials note that Suda51's panel will be available for live streaming here on Saturday, May 25th at 5:30 p.m. ET. Suda will also hold a talk called, quote, Indie Games in Japan and the World on Friday at 11:30 a.m. ET. If you want to follow the hyperlink, you can follow the link down in the description. Over the course that, of course, that Travis Strikes Again tease was pretty clear that the series will continue. Is late May the time to share that bombshell publicly, or will he wait for E3? No, I don't think he waits till E3. I would expect if I can kind of calm down here. I think Suda announces or puts out a trailer or it gives us details or something before, maybe not before E3, but I don't think it's going to be at E3, if that makes sense. It's either going to be before or after. I don't think we see anything about this new No More Heroes game at something like E3. I just don't think it fits No More Heroes. I don't think it fits Suda to see him do something like that. To me, Suda is kind of like a wackier Kojima, if that makes sense. At least that's the vibe I've always got out of him. But no, clearly, no. After Travis Strikes Again, I mean, they clearly said No More Heroes 3 is in development. I mean, hell, even then you saw there was that bit with Travis in that unfinished room swinging out like a practice dummy, and I was like, "What's this? Oh, this is development." You know, it's like, yeah, you're not allowed to see this. So clearly, No More Heroes 3 is in the works. I don't know. I think that either we'll hear it here or we'll hear it after E3. But honestly, other than another No More Heroes game, I can't think what he's going to show. I mean, again, unless he's going to announce something about Killer is Dead, like a sequel to Killer is Dead or something like that. But I expect No More Heroes 3. I don't think he's going to make people wait and tease us like that. We'll find out soon enough. Just 24 more days to go. Suda won't be alone. 2 members of Inti Creates, Team Salvato, Axis Games, and Supergiant Games will be in attendance. It'll be a fun one. All right. Well, all of that, just a bunch of short articles, but we do have one video. Initially, I was going to talk about this just in an article form, but I was able to find the video. It's about 8 minutes of gameplay for A Plague Tale: Innocence. So let's get into it.
Run!
Alright, this is a, is it saying uncut gameplay trailer? Now this game, every time I see this game, it just looks prettier and prettier.
Why did you do that?
I'm just...
Your son is here because he disobeyed orders.
He was scared.
And also, the more I see of this game, the more interested I have become in it.
Too many rats under there. I can't get through without distracting them.
No better than them rats. Without rats.
I don't know. I've said this before. I feel like this game's concept can wear very thin very quickly. Because I think it's going to be a lot of puzzles, a lot of, obviously a lot of this involving these rats and everything. I mean, I think it's going to have to, I think, again, unless there's a bunch of story stuff that I've not, seen or anything like that, that I'm, if there's a lot of stuff that they just haven't shown us in this game yet, or I don't know. I think
Stay calm.
I think its story is going to have to be the...
This is all for him.
Its story is going to have to be its driving force. Because it's like I said, I still feel like this concept will wear very thin after enough time. So if you're kind of new to this game, I'm trying to remember exactly when it takes place. It takes place in during the plague. Oh wow, man! It's been a while since I've even. And now that I talk about it, it's been a while since I've even seen the kind of the plot for this game. Now, you see the rats run away. It's because of the fire. They don't like the light. So basically, as you've seen, like a lot of this game is kind of like where she used that corpse to clear out some of those rats. Like that, she brought this guy over here to use his lamp to freak these guys out. Oh, cool! It's the first time I've seen them actually fight a guard. But I mean, we've seen bits and pieces of them kind of, coming around. This girl is your main character. She also has, I believe, a sick brother. I don't think he's sick with the plague, but geez, I'm trying to remember the exact plot of this game. But I mean, you see, there's crafting elements involved here. There's. I don't want to say nothing to this game, that, this game has a very thin premise, but
What's that?
I'm just curious how...
Don't look. Don't look.
How many puzzles can you create with the same basic concept? I know, I'm making no sense. Like I said earlier, I'm on low sleep and doing this early in the morning. I've got work training in a couple hours that I gotta go to. I'm just trying to keep myself awake. And see, again, it's just puzzles of figuring out how to get past the rats to get to the objective. I mean, it seems like such a very simple premise, and just I feel like there's going to be a lot of similar puzzles throughout this game. I mean, I think it depending on how long it is, depending on the complexity of the puzzles, how many puzzles there are, just this, that, the other thing. This will either work or it won't. And I'm rooting for it to succeed too. I hope it doesn't come across. I hope I'm not coming across like I want this game to fail, because I really like this game's. I really like the idea of this game, and it looks really pretty for what it is. For I don't believe this isn't a major studio working on this game either.
I made it.
You've been mistaken again.
Oh, but I'll never forget this smell. The university. See? Keep going. The cemetery. It's on the way. I really don't want to go through there. Locked. If only Melly was
Like,
here.
yeah, clearly it was locked.
Come on, there has to be another way to get in.
God damn, I'm trying to remember the exact plot of this game. I mean, I know it takes place during
Looks like it.
What
Clever. The Grand Inquisitor doesn't do things by halves.
was it saying? I know this game takes place during plagues, clearly, or at least I believe this is England. It might be France. I'm pretty sure this is England. I'm just trying to remember the exact plot details and everything, because I know it involves this girl, her brother. Interesting. Oh, it's a crafting bench for your equipment. Oh, cool. I've not seen this before. I've seen the crafting of, we saw that, the igniter, that thing she threw to light that torch on fire and whatnot.
Come on, mate.
We've seen that. I've not seen her actually upgrade the equipment.
No.
Must have something worthwhile. Everyone's got a bit of treasure.
Come on, Amicia. Do something. Come on.
See, I like the lack of UI. I mean, usually I'm not a...
That will teach you.
I'm usually not like an anti kind of like... I'm not like an anti-UI person, because I know some people who like the UI or the HUD. There we go. To be almost bare. Me personally, I don't mind, seeing health bars and, what I'm carrying, this, that, the other thing. But really, this minimalist approach, I think, really kind of works for this game.
What on earth are they doing here?
All right, well, there you go, guys. That was just kind of a little short look at A Plague Tale: Innocence, coming out May 14th by Asobo Studios, Focus Home Interactive. We will be playing this game along with Rage 2. They both come out on the same day, so we will be checking out both of them on May 14th. And that's going to about do it for the show this week, guys. Thank you, for everything in the show this week, guys. Thanks so much for watching. As always, Facebook, Twitter, the website, minds.com, links to all that stuff is down in the description below, along with timestamps and links to every article and video that we talked about today. If I was a little scatterbrained today, I'm sorry. I know I took a lot of time on that second article. But you know what? I honestly, with everything surrounding that, I thought it was an interesting topic. So, also let me embrace my inner pervert. So, thanks for watching, everybody. As I said, social media is in the description. Like, comment, you're not already. Please subscribe to the channel. Come back next week for the next show. And check out the variety of Let's Plays that are running on the channel in the meantime. And until then, my name's HJ Gels. This is Something Game Channel. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm out.